Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about movies that I believe are not being talked about enough. Tonight's movie is 1984's Frozen Scream, and this is a very rare film that has been released by Vinegar Syndrome's Drive-In Collection double feature with The Executioner Part 2. But we're looking at this side of it right here. This is Frozen Scream from 1984. And on the back of the DVD, we have a picture of from the film with a brief synopsis. And Vinegar Syndrome have these drive-in collections where they'll do a double feature, sexploitation, just weird, bizarre underground or horror exploitation, all that good stuff. And what they do is I mean, I mean, the rarest, most underground films that, you know, just generally should just look absolutely terrible. And what they've done is, this film was scanned and restored in 2K from 35 millimeter and 16 millimeter negatives. Vinegar Syndrome, wow, they really give you the best they can possibly give you. And This is Frozen Scream right here. I don't even want to say too much about this film because you really need to go into this film not knowing what you're getting yourself involved with. And in the first couple minutes of this film, you will think that the film is something that, or it's going to be something that it's not. And then you are going to be sucker punched time and time and time again for the full 80 minutes of this film. First and foremost, this is late night, just, just the ultimate late at night, weird, bizarre horror, theological sci-fi slasher something, zombie, all of the above. I mean, if you're looking at films, those real, what people would call late night weird, freaky trash, Frozen Scream is definitely one of the most unique of that ilk. Let's start off with the music and sound design for this film. The music and the sound design and score for this film is awesome. It is jarring. It's very dark and creepy and late night. What did I just tune into? 2:30 in the morning. It's synthesized. It's weird, jarring, loud noises that almost reminded me of the way that like a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre tries to use noises, especially in violent scenes or in shocking scenes, to kind of make you uncomfortable. The noises and sound design in Frozen Scream are disturbing, and they're dark and weird. And the score is dark and mysterious and just, I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it's just a really awesome sound design to this film. Now, this particular, transfer here, um, while it's rough, it actually looks quite awesome. The sound is kind of rough for maybe like the first 20 minutes. You got to keep the volume up, and then it almost seems like the sound gets better as the movie goes on, like the dialogue and everything. Especially this one actress who I guess is playing like a German woman. She's the hardest to understand, but you'll soon be able to get into what she's saying and hear it better. Now we look at the style of this film. Now this film is obviously extremely low budget, and I gotta be honest with you, the cinematography and the direction and the I mean the camera angles, I was freaking impressed. I could not believe all the different camera angles. Um, I couldn't believe like just the cinematography was actually like should never have been with a film of this low budget. It was actually really well done. Um, and the characters in this film, I mean, I don't want to give away too much because I would say most of what makes this film so wild is not knowing what the heck you're getting yourself into. But the characters in this film are very bizarre. The dialogue is very bizarre. The acting is very bizarre. You kind of got that bad acting, kind of bizarre, but you're not sure if it's supposed to be bizarre or it's just, weird bad acting. Regardless, it works. It's just low budget, weird. What the f am I watching? Kind of deal. And there's even bizarre, narration at times over existing scenes that look like we're supposed to be hearing what the people are saying. It very weird. There's even some little tiny bits of humor sprinkled throughout this, but this is really kind of a serious mind f of a film. I mean, this is a film that mixes, like I said, theology and even some philosophy and medicine and biology and yeah, yeah, and scientific experimentation, and ritualistic things. I mean, very bizarre, and I would say ahead of its time with many films that would come later on. Um, and I got to tell you, the violent, gory scenes in this film actually took me off guard. There's a a couple of them, and they are actually quite bloody and quite gory. And if you have a problem with needles, um, you're gonna have a problem with a couple scenes in this film because I was not. There are a good number of needle scenes in this film, and I was yeah. So there you have it there, and bloody and some pretty good special effects, especially this one, which is on the back of the DVD case of an axe in a head. I was actually pretty taken back by that. So, folks, this movie really is. It actually reminded me at times of the '80s film Evils of the Night, which is a film that I'll be reviewing on this YouTube page in the future, and it just has that late night trashy horror sci-fi zombie mind f. There are sequences in this film unlike anything you've seen before. There are costumes in this film. There are eyes in this film. And stylistically, with the cinematography, they're doing a lot of very interesting things with eyes. Um, and when people are talking and they're close up on people's faces, there are just really bizarre scenes in here and bizarre faces and bizarre masks, and it's really I gotta be honest with you. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff and weird stuff. This movie really, tops the list. It's just a very uniquely mind f of a movie, and I got to tell you, for the entire duration of the 80 minutes, even the extra slow closing credits of this movie, um, it is like a continuous mind f. There's no break from the mind f. As soon as you push play on this movie, it's like you're in some other dimension. It's like you're in a nightmare for the entire duration, which actually this movie actually involves some nightmares and dreams, but the whole film feels like a dream. The whole film feels like a freaking nightmare. And it just feels so weird. The lead girl, Anne, like the way she speaks is weird. It's just really bizarre, and there's some sexual stuff in here. Not sex, but like there's kind of some nipples if you look closely, but there's some weird stuff that's just unexplainable. Um, involving some sexual type of stuff going on here. And I gotta tell you, for a film this low budget, there are some freaking badass, like creepy sequences in this film. Especially like I think it's like 15 minutes in, or with like the first kind of pinnacle death for the film. Like really well done with a staircase. I've never seen somebody like push somebody down a staircase and then run in front of them before their body hits yours. Like there's just, but there was a really there's some really creepy, very very cool, dark, um, and kind of scary sequences in this film. I got to be honest with you. Some really, really cool stuff. And there's this one dream sequence, like in the first, I guess, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that was just like, what the hell? I don't know what I'm watching, but this is freaking cool. And you're going to find yourself kind of saying that throughout the film. I don't know what I'm watching exactly, but this is freaking weird. It's very hard to put a genre on this film. But from what I've said, you're definitely looking at, horror, maybe sci-fi, maybe zombie, and then a whole dose of maybe exploitation. And there's some fight sequences in here, and but definitely a big dose of bizarre. This is Frozen Scream. There it is, folks. 1984's Frozen Scream, put out by the Drive-In Collection from Vinegar Syndrome. This is in print still, and it's a good price. You can get it through Vinegar Syndrome or Amazon. But the Drive-In Collection films, the double features, are always cheaper prices, like $10, $11, things like that. And if you ever get a sale on Vinegar Syndrome's site, they'll be even cheaper. These Drive-In Collections are easiest to get, I found, directly through Vinegar Syndrome and not through another site. This is Frozen Scream 1984. Wow, 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 guys. Directed by Frank Roach. Whew. They just don't make them like this anymore. And thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe are not being talked about enough. There are tons of other reviews on here, many more to come. Guys, thank you so much. And check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopy diarrhea. Good night.